My fiancée told me she needed space. 2 weeks later, she showed up crying when she realized I canceled the wedding and sold the house. I'll never forget the exact moment my life fell apart. It was a Tuesday evening in late September, and I was sitting in our living room. Well, technically my living room since I'd bought the house before we got engaged, watching the Phillies game. The sound of Sarah's car pulling into the driveway made me glance at my watch. 9:47 p.m. She'd said she was working late at the marketing firm again. "Hey babes," I called out when I heard the door open. "Game's almost over, Phillies up by 3. Sarah walked into the living room, and I immediately knew something was wrong. Her shoulders were tense, her jaw set in that way that meant she'd been thinking about something heavy. She didn't sit down next to me on the couch like she normally would. Instead, she stood near the doorway, clutching her purse like it was a lifeline. "Jake, we need to talk." Those 4 words. I'd heard them in 1,000 movies and TV shows, but hearing them in real life from the woman I'd planned to marry in 3 months hit different. I muted the TV and turned to face her fully. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She took a deep breath. I think I need some space." The words hung in the air between us like smoke. I felt my chest tighten. "Space," I repeated slowly. "What does that mean exactly?" She looked down at her hands. "I feel like we rushed into this. The engagement, moving in together, planning the wedding. It's all happening so fast and I'm not sure I'm ready." I stood up, my heart pounding. "Sarah, we've been together for 4 years. We've lived together for 2. How is this rushing?" I know, she said quickly. "It's not about you, Jake. You're amazing. It's just, I need time to figure out what I really want." There was something in the way she said it that made my stomach drop. "Is there someone else?" "No." She said it too quickly, too defensively. "God, no, this isn't about anyone else. This is about me needing to be sure before we make this huge commitment." I ran my hand through my hair, trying to process what was happening. "So what are you saying? You want to postpone the wedding?" "I'm saying I need a few weeks to clear my head. Maybe stay with my sister in Boston. Just give me some time to think." "The wedding is in 3 months, Sarah. We've put down deposits. Your mom already bought her dress. My family booked their flights." Her eyes filled with tears. "I know, and I'm sorry. But isn't it better to be sure now than to make a mistake we'll both regret?" The logical part of my brain knew she had a point. But the rest of me felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "How long do you need?" "I don't know, a couple weeks maybe." "A couple weeks," I echoed, feeling numb. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. "Jake, I love you, I do. I just need to make sure this is right. Can you understand that?" I pulled my hand away gently. "Yeah, I understand." That was a lie. I didn't understand at all. But what was I supposed to do? Beg her to stay? Force her into a marriage she wasn't sure about? "I'll start packing some things," she said quietly. "I'll come back for the rest later." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. I turned back to the TV, unseeing as she went upstairs. 20 minutes later, she came down with a suitcase and her toiletry bag. "I'll call you in a few days," she said from the doorway. "Sure." She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Then she left. The house felt impossibly quiet after she drove away. I sat on the couch for hours, staring at nothing, trying to figure out where it had all gone wrong. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I'd been an IT project manager at a tech company in Philadelphia for 5 years, and I'd barely used any sick days. They could spare me for one. I spent the day going through our life together in my mind, looking for signs I'd missed. Sarah had been distant for the past few months, now that I thought about it. More working late days. More time on her phone. But I'd chalked it up to stress from the wedding planning. My best friend Marcus called around noon. "Dude, I just heard you okay." Of course he'd heard. Sarah and my sister Emma were close, and Emma couldn't keep a secret to save her life. "Been better," I admitted. "You want to grab a beer later, get your mind off it?" "Nah, I'm good, just need to process." "All right, but I'm here if you need me, and Jake, don't do anything stupid." After I hung up, I went to my home office and opened my laptop. I pulled up our wedding planning spreadsheet. Yes, I'd made a spreadsheet because that's what I do, and looked at all the deposits and payments we'd made. Venue $8,000 deposit, $12,000 due 30 days before. Catering, $6,500 paid in full. Photography, $3,500 deposit, $3,000 due day of. Flowers, $1,800 paid in full. DJ, $1,200 paid in full. My suit and her dress, $2,400 combined. The list went on. Between both of us, we'd spent close to $30,000 already, most of it non-refundable. And that wasn't counting the house. The house. The beautiful 4-bedroom colonial I'd bought 3 years ago in a quiet neighborhood just outside Philadelphia. I'd scraped together a down payment of $40,000, my life savings at the time, for the $320,000 purchase price. Sarah had moved in 2 years ago, but the house was solely in my name. She'd offered to split the mortgage, but I'd been old-fashioned about it, insisting I'd handle it until we were married. Now I was glad I had. I spent the rest of the day trying to distract myself with work emails, but my mind kept circling back to Sarah's words. I need to figure out what I really want. That night, I broke my own rule and looked at her social media. Her Instagram was private to anyone who wasn't a friend, but I still had access. The most recent post was from 3 days ago, a selfie at a coffee shop with the caption, "Needed this pick-me-up hot beverage sparkles." I looked closer at the background. There was someone else in the photo, visible just over her shoulder. A guy with dark hair and a familiar face. My stomach sank as I recognized him, Marcus Chen, one of the senior executives at Sarah's company. I'd met him once at her office holiday party last year. I told myself I was being paranoid. It was a coffee shop. Could be a coincidence. But then I noticed the comments. Her friend Rachel had written, "You two look cute together, red heart." Sarah had replied, "Just work friends," smiling face with smiling eyes. The emoji felt forced. Defensive. I closed the laptop before I could spiral further. Marcus's words echoed in my head, "Don't do anything stupid." But I wasn't stupid. I was starting to see clearly for the first time in months. Over the next 3 days, Sarah didn't call. I texted her once, "Hope you're doing okay, let me know when you want to talk." No response. On day 4, I was having coffee with my sister Emma. She'd insisted on meeting, probably worried I was going to fall apart. "Have you heard from her?" Emma asked, stirring sugar into her latte. "Nothing." Emma frowned. "That's weird. Even if she needs space, she should at least check in." "It is what it is." "Jake, I have to tell you something." Emma looked uncomfortable. I didn't want to say anything, but Rachel mentioned something to me last week. My grip tightened on my coffee cup. "What did she say?" "Apparently Sarah has been spending a lot of time with some guy from work, Marcus something. Rachel said they've been going to lunch together, staying late at the office. She thought maybe they were just friends, but... Emma looked down. "But Rachel saw them at a bar in the city last Tuesday. The night Sarah said she was working late, they were sitting really close and Sarah was laughing a lot. Rachel said it looked intimate." I felt sick. Did Rachel say anything to Sarah? No, she didn't want to assume the worst, but she thought I should know in case. Emma trailed off. In case Sarah was cheating. That's what she didn't want to say. I pulled out my phone and opened Sarah's Instagram again, scrolling through her recent posts. That coffee shop photo had been liked by Marcus Chen. I clicked on his profile. Recent post, grateful for good company and even better conversation, raising hands. Posted 3 days ago. The same day as Sarah's coffee shop selfie. I showed Emma. She winced. "I'm sorry, Jake." "Don't be." I set my phone down. I needed to know. That evening I made a decision. I called my real estate agent, Jennifer Martinez. She'd helped me buy the house 3 years ago and we'd stayed in touch. "Jake, how's the wedding planning going?" "Actually, Jennifer, that's why I'm calling. The wedding's off, and I'm thinking about selling the house." There was a pause. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you sure? That's a big decision to make when you're emotional." "I'm sure the house has appreciated, right? What do you think I could get for it?" "Well, the market's been strong. Houses in your neighborhood are going for around $390,000 to $420,000 depending on condition. You've kept it nice, so I'd say you could list for $410,000 and see what happens." I did the mental math. After the mortgage payoff and agent fees, I'd walk away with close to $180,000. Combined with my savings and the wedding money we'd recover where possible, I could start fresh. Let's do it. How soon can you list it? I can come by tomorrow morning for photos and measurements. We could be live by Friday. Perfect. After I hung up, I called the wedding venue. Elmwood Estate, this is Patricia speaking. Hi Patricia, this is Jake Morrison. I have a wedding booked for December 16th. Oh yes, Mr. Morrison, is everything all right with your planning? Actually, I need to cancel. Silence. Then oh. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me pull up your contract. I believe you have a $8,000 deposit with us. And per the contract, deposits are non-refundable if cancellation occurs within 90 days of the event. I understand, just wanted to let you know officially. I spent the next 2 hours calling every vendor, canceling everything I could. Some were sympathetic and offered partial refunds. Most weren't. In total, I'd lost about $18,000 in non-refundable deposits and payments. It was expensive, but it was worth it. I wasn't going to sit around waiting for Sarah to figure out her feelings while she was apparently dating her coworker. The next morning, Jennifer came by early with her professional photographer. They spent 2 hours getting shots of every room, the yard, the updated kitchen I'd remodeled last year. By Friday afternoon, the listing was live. Under contract in 3 days. Jennifer's text came through Tuesday morning. Got 3 offers. Best one is $425,000, all cash, 30-day close. What do you think? I didn't hesitate. Accepted. I still hadn't heard from Sarah. It had been almost 2 weeks since she'd left. I'd stopped checking her social media, stopped imagining what she was doing. I was too busy packing. On day 13, my phone rang. Sarah. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. Hello. Jake. Her voice was thick like she'd been crying. Can we talk? I'm coming over. Actually, that's not a good idea right now. What? Why not? Jake, I miss you. I've been thinking a lot and Sarah, I'm busy. If you want to talk, we can meet for coffee later this week. Busy? What are you busy with? Jake, this is important. I need to see you. I heard the desperation in her voice. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. The other part just felt tired. Sarah, I can't do this right now. I'll call you later. I hung up before she could respond. My phone immediately started ringing again. I sent it to voicemail. Then came the texts. Jake, please, we need to talk. I made a mistake. I'm coming over. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Jake, answer me. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I continued packing boxes. The movers were coming tomorrow to take everything to the storage unit I'd rented. I'd be staying with Marcus until I found a new place, smaller, simpler, mine alone. 25 minutes later, I heard a car pull up. Then frantic knocking on the door. Jake, open up, please. I took a deep breath and walked to the door. When I opened it, Sarah stood there with tear-stained cheeks and wild eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept. What the hell is going on? She demanded, pushing past me into the house. Then she stopped, taking in the boxes stacked everywhere, the bare walls where our photos used to hang, the packed-up life. What is this? I'm moving. Moving? What do you mean you're moving? This is our house. No, Sarah, this is my house, was my house. I sold it. Her face went white. You what? I sold the house, close next week. But. She was shaking her head like she couldn't process what I was saying. You can't just sell our house. My house, I corrected. And yes, I can, it's in my name. This is insane, you're being insane. Am I? You asked for space, I'm giving it to you permanently. She grabbed my arm. Jake, no, I came back to tell you I was wrong, I don't need space. I want to be with you, I want to get married, we can still. No, we can't. I gently removed her hand from my arm. I canceled the wedding. The color drained from her face completely. What? 2 weeks ago, right after you left, called every vendor, canceled everything. But the deposits, the venue. Gone, about $18,000 worth. Consider it an expensive lesson learned. She stumbled backward, catching herself on the kitchen counter. I don't understand, why would you do that? Because you weren't sure about marrying me, Sarah, you said so yourself, and I'm not going to marry someone who isn't sure. But I am sure now, I just needed Time to figure out what you wanted. Yes, you said that, and I used that time to figure out what I wanted too. Her eyes were wild now, desperate. Jake, please, we can fix this. We can get the venue back, tell people it was just a delay. There's nothing to fix, we're done. Done, you're breaking up with me. No, Sarah, you broke up with me when you asked for space. I'm just making it official. She started crying harder. This is because of Marcus, isn't it? Someone told you about Marcus. The confirmation straight from her mouth should have hurt more. But I'd already done my grieving over the past 2 weeks. So there is something with Marcus. No, I mean we're friends. We've gotten close, but we didn't. Doesn't matter now. It does matter, Jake. I never cheated on you. Marcus and we just talked. He listened to me when I was confused about the wedding about us. But I never. Emotional affair is still an affair, Sarah. She fell silent at that. I saw your Instagram, I continued. The comments, the way you two looked at each other in the photos. I'm not stupid. Jake, please. She was sobbing now. I love you, I made a mistake, please don't do this. I loved you too, past tense, but I'm not going to be someone's backup plan. I'm not going to wait around while you figure out if I'm what you want. You're not a backup plan, you're everything. Then why did you need space? Why did you spend the last 2 weeks with Marcus instead of calling me? She didn't have an answer for that. I walked to the door and opened it. You should go. Jake. Sarah, please just go, there's nothing left to say. She stood there for a long moment, crying, looking at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. Maybe we both were. Finally, she walked to the door. She paused in the threshold. I'm sorry, she whispered. Me too. After she left, I sat down on the floor in my empty living room, surrounded by boxes, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no regret. Just a strange sense of peace. My phone buzzed. Emma, Sarah just called me crying, said you sold the house and canceled the wedding. Did you really? Me, yeah. Emma, holy shit, are you okay? Me, actually, yeah, I think I am. The next few months were a blur of change. I closed on the house sale, pocketing $183,000 after all fees. I moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment in Center City, Philadelphia, closer to work and closer to the life I wanted to build. I threw myself into my career with renewed focus. Within 2 months, I'd been promoted to Senior IT Project Manager with a $25,000 raise. The promotion I'd been aiming for but had put on the back burner during wedding planning. I started working out again, something I'd neglected over the past year. I joined a boxing gym and went 3 times a week. The physical exhaustion helped clear my head. I reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with during the relationship. Marcus and I started a weekly poker night with some guys from college. I joined a recreational soccer league. I took a weekend trip to New York just because I could. I didn't date. I wasn't ready. But I was content. Sarah tried to reach out a few times in the first month. Texts that went from apologetic to angry to desperate. I didn't respond to any of them. Finally, she stopped. Through the grapevine, Emma mostly, I heard that Sarah and Marcus had started dating officially. They'd gone public on social media after I'd blocked her, so I never saw it directly. Emma said Sarah seemed happy but defensive whenever anyone mentioned me. She tells people you were controlling, Emma told me over dinner one night. Says you blindsided her by selling the house and canceling the wedding without giving her a chance. I just shrugged. People believe what they want to believe. For the record, Emma said, everyone in the family knows the truth. Mom is still pissed at Sarah, she loved you. Your mom is too kind. She's right though, you dodged a bullet. I smiled. Yeah, I did. 6 months after the breakup, I was living my best life. I'd taken the money from the house sale and invested most of it, keeping enough liquid for a down payment on something new when I was ready. My savings account was healthier than it had ever been. I'd been seeing a therapist, Dr. Patterson, since a month after Sarah left. It had been Emma's suggestion and I'd resisted at first. But it turned out to be one of the best decisions I'd made. You're doing really well, Dr. Patterson said during one of our sessions. You've processed the betrayal, established healthy boundaries, and you're building a life that makes you happy. That's huge. I don't feel betrayed anymore, I admitted. Honestly, I feel grateful. If she hadn't asked for space, I might have married someone who wasn't fully committed to me. That's a mature perspective. Do you think you're ready to start dating again? I considered it. Maybe I'm not actively looking, but I'm not opposed to it either. That's a good place to be. The next week, Marcus set me up on a blind date with his girlfriend's sister, Amy. She was a pediatric nurse with a great sense of humor and an infectious laugh. We went to a Sixers game for our first date, grabbed pizza after, and talked until midnight. We went on 3 more dates over the next month. It wasn't serious, and we both knew it, but it was nice. Easy. Uncomplicated. Meanwhile, I'd started looking at condos. I found a beautiful 2-bedroom in Rittenhouse Square with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the city. It was $360,000, but I could afford it comfortably with my down payment and new salary. I made an offer, it was accepted, and I closed a month later. My own place. No shared history, no ghosts, just a fresh start. 8 months after the breakup, I ran into Sarah. Literally. I was leaving a coffee shop near my office, absorbed in my phone, and walked right into someone coming in. I'm so sorry, I wasn't. I looked up. Sarah. She was thinner than I remembered, her face drawn. But she was well-dressed, professional-looking. Marcus was right behind her, his hand on her back protectively. Jake, she said, her voice small. We stood there awkwardly. Marcus looked uncomfortable but said nothing. How are you? I asked, because what else do you say? I'm good, we're good. She glanced back at Marcus, who gave a tight smile. How about you? Really good, actually, just bought a condo in Rittenhouse. Something flickered in her eyes. Regret. Jealousy. I couldn't tell and didn't care enough to analyze it. That's great, I'm happy for you. Thanks, well I should. Jake, wait. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. I want you to know I'm sorry for everything. The way I handled things, asking for space instead of just being honest. You deserved better. I looked at her, this woman I'd almost married, and felt nothing but distant compassion. Like you'd feel for any person who'd made mistakes and was trying to grow. I appreciate that, I said honestly. And I hope you're happy, Sarah, I really do. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't expect you to be so, okay. Life goes on for both of us. Marcus cleared his throat. We should get going, babe. Meeting starts in 10. Sarah nodded, wiping her eyes. Yeah, bye, Jake. Bye. I watched them walk away, Marcus's hand still protectively on her back. I wondered if she'd ever ask him for space, if their relationship would follow the same pattern. Then I pushed the thought away. Not my problem anymore. That night, Amy and I went to dinner at a new Italian place in Old City. She told me about a particularly challenging case at the hospital, a premature baby who'd finally gone home healthy after months in the NICU. Her passion for her work was evident in every word. Sorry, she said, laughing. I've been talking about myself all night. How was your day? It was good, I said. Actually, I ran into my ex today. Oh, how did that go? Better than I expected. Weird but okay, she apologized. Amy studied my face. Do you still have feelings for her? I thought about it honestly. No, I think I stopped having feelings for her the day she left. I was just too busy dealing with everything to realize it. That's healthy. She reached across the table and took my hand. You know what I like about you, Jake? You don't carry your past around like baggage. You learned from it and moved on. I squeezed her hand. I had good help, good friends, good family, good therapist. And good taste in dinner companions, she teased. The best. We were taking things slow, Amy and I. No pressure, no rushing, no assuming anything. It was the opposite of my relationship with Sarah, where we'd moved fast and never questioned if we were compatible or just comfortable. Amy and I were building something different. Something solid. And if it didn't work out, I'd be okay. Because I'd learned the most important lesson from the Sarah disaster. I didn't need someone else to complete me, I was already whole. A year after Sarah left, I was having dinner at my parents' house in the suburbs. My mom had insisted on celebrating my 33rd birthday with a family meal, despite my protests that we didn't need to make a big deal. How's the condo? My dad asked, grilling steaks on their back patio. Perfect, I love it, best decision I made. And that girl you've been seeing, Amy. Also good, we're taking a weekend trip to the Poconos next month. Dad smiled. You seem happy, son. I am really happy. Good. He flipped the stakes. You know, when Sarah left, your mother and I were worried about you. The way you just handled everything so quickly. Sold the house, canceled the wedding, cut contact. We thought maybe you were avoiding dealing with the pain. Maybe I was at first, but honestly, Dad, once I got past the initial shock, I realized I wasn't that hurt. I was angry, embarrassed, but not heartbroken. I think that says something about the relationship. That it wasn't right. Yes, we were comfortable together, but we weren't right for each other. If we had been, she wouldn't have needed space. And I wouldn't have been able to walk away so easily. Dad nodded thoughtfully. Your mother says Amy is good for you. She is, but more importantly, I'm good for me now. Amy's just a bonus. Inside, I could hear Emma and Mom laughing about something. My sister had recently gotten engaged to her long-term boyfriend, and Mom was deep in wedding planning mode. She'd asked if it bothered me, given everything with Sarah. Not at all, I'd told her honestly. Emma's wedding will be beautiful, because it's about two people who are absolutely sure about each other. During dinner, Emma mentioned that she'd seen Sarah recently. She asked about you, Emma said carefully. What did you tell her? That you were doing great. New condo, new relationship, thriving at work. She got really quiet after that. How's she doing? Emma shrugged. Okay, I guess. She and Marcus bought a place together in Fishtown. She got promoted to director at her company. Good for her. My mom frowned. You're very gracious considering what she put you through. Holding grudges takes energy I don't want to spend, Mom. She made her choice. I made mine. We're both moving forward. Later, as I was leaving, Emma walked me to my car. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd waited for her? If you'd given her the space she asked for instead of ending things? I thought about it. Sometimes, but then I remember that she was spending that space with Marcus. She was already emotionally checked out of our relationship. Waiting would have just prolonged the inevitable and cost me my self-respect. Do you think she regrets it? Probably, but not because she realizes I was right for her, because she didn't expect me to be okay without her. She thought I'd wait forever. Emma hugged me. I'm proud of you, little brother. Thanks, Em. Driving back to the city, I thought about Sarah's question from months ago. How are you so okay? The truth was, I was more than okay. I was thriving. And it wasn't because I'd found someone new or bought a nice condo or gotten promoted. It was because I'd learned that my worth wasn't tied to anyone else's perception of me. Sarah had asked for space because she thought she could find something better. Instead, she taught me that I deserved someone who was absolutely certain about me from day one. No doubts, no need for space, no looking at other options. My phone buzzed. Amy, hope you had a great birthday. Can't wait to see you this weekend, smiling face with smiling eyes. I smiled and texted back, best birthday in years, see you Saturday. And I meant it. This past year had been the hardest and the best of my life. Hard because I'd had to face some uncomfortable truths about my relationship and my own tendency to avoid conflict. Best because I'd come out of it stronger, clearer about what I wanted, and surrounded by people who actually valued me. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is having everything fall apart. Because when you rebuild, you get to choose exactly what you want your life to look like. And my life looked pretty damn good. Epilogue 2 years later. The wedding was perfect. Small, intimate, just family and close friends at a vineyard in Bucks County. Amy looked stunning in her simple ivory dress, her smile bright enough to light up the whole room. As I stood at the altar watching her walk down the aisle, I felt nothing but certainty. No doubts, no cold feet, no wondering if this was right. Just a deep, peaceful knowing that this was exactly where I was supposed to be. You may now kiss the bride, the officiant said. I pulled Amy close and kissed her, and our friends and family erupted in applause. At the reception, my dad pulled me aside. You did good, son, she's a keeper. I know, I'm a lucky guy. You're not lucky, he corrected. You're smart, you knew what you wanted, and you didn't settle for anything less. Marcus raised his glass for a toast. To my best friend Jake, who taught me that sometimes the best revenge is just living well. And to Amy, who was smart enough to see what an incredible man she'd found. Cheers. Everyone raised their glasses. As I looked around the room at the people I loved, I caught a glimpse of Emma filming on her phone, probably for her Instagram story. Later she showed me the post. It was a photo of Amy and me during our first dance with the caption, "Sometimes you have to lose the wrong person to find the right one. Couldn't be happier for my brother and his beautiful bride. 2 hearts." Among the comments was one from Sarah. Just a simple, "Congratulations." I showed Amy, who raised an eyebrow. "Do you want to respond?" "Nah, that chapter's closed." I tucked my phone away and pulled her back onto the dance floor. "This is the only chapter that matters now." As we swayed to the music, Amy whispered in my ear, "Thank you for waiting for me." "I wasn't waiting," I said honestly. "I was becoming the person who deserved you." She pulled back to look at me, her eyes shining. "I love you, Jake Morrison." "I love you too, Mrs. Morrison." And as we danced under the stars, surrounded by love and laughter and the promise of forever, I realized that Sarah leaving was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because it led me to Amy, though that was a wonderful bonus, but because it taught me that I didn't need someone else to complete my life. I just needed someone who wanted to share the complete life I'd already built for myself. And that made all the difference.